Hello everyone, my name is Brooke and welcome back to my channel or my podcast because I think I've decided to post this on both. Originally it was just going to be a YouTube series, but I decided, you know what, it's just going to be me sitting here talking. Pretty much there might be a couple overlays of photos and such, but for the most part it's just going to be me here talking, which is why I am mic'd up today. I normally don't mic up because my mic has like a weird cord to it. I really do want to get a wireless one, but I do currently have one with a cord, and yeah, it's just not the vibe normally when I'm filming YouTube videos, but for today we are going to hook it up because it's just me sitting here chilling and talking to you guys. So as you saw from the title of this video, I don't 100% know what I'm going to name this series yet, but you would have seen it in the title. But basically it's going to be like my cultural representative program diary, pretty much, or like a video diary, video journal kind of thing. And every once in a while, leading up to the program and during my program, I want to come on here and just have a chat with you all about what everything is about and what's going on and how everything has been, and tell stories that maybe you're not going to get to see in vlogs and that. Obviously there will be vlogs in that, but see series that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. I will also, full disclosure, I've seen a couple other YouTubers do this kind of thing, which is what kind of gave me the idea to do it. Particularly, Luke is on the cultural exchange program from Australia, New Zealand right now, and he is doing one of these series, and I really enjoy watching his videos on like this kind of thing, and I was like, that would be a really cool thing to do and a really cool way to make and remember those kind of memories in a different format than just having the vlogs with me all the time. I keep pushing my hair back because I'm kind of hoping it's not going to bother the mic too much. I don't usually make it to me, I usually make it to things around me. So I'm kind of hoping that it's not going to bother me too much or bother anything else. But yeah, so this series basically is just going to be me sitting down talking about my cultural representative program. So today is obviously going to be the start of that, episode number 1, which is really exciting, and it's going to be me talking about my journey so far, what's to come, what I'm excited for, and all that stuff. So I'm not going to ramble on any longer about what this is going to be because we're just going to talk about it. The cultural representative program is not something I had really ever thought I was gonna do. When Canadians do the cultural representative program, you usually need some sort of serving experience, and I had none, and on the application it says like over 2 years preferred, and I had 0 years. I've never worked in the food industry at all, and frankly it's intimidated me quite a bit, so it's something that I had always kind of veered away from because I've just always kind of worked more of a retail environment. So being in food service was kind of scary. I'd never done it before, and I'd applied to the cultural representative program in the past, and that didn't work out, / COVID happened, / everything else. It was actually during COVID where I applied for a full-time position with Disney separately, and me and one of my friends both actually applied to these positions, and we got as far as the interview stage, and we were pretty much offered positions before they were like, yeah, sorry, we're not going to sponsor your visa. So that was kind of disappointing, but at that point I was like, okay, well, this is something I really want. I need to strive to do the cultural representative program. I really want to do this, and I did always want to do it after I decided to go back to school. I always wanted to do it right after I graduated. So that is what I did. I've done cultural exchange programs. As we know, I've done 3 cultural exchange programs in Attraction Smugglers Run, a character attendant at Magic Kingdom, and merchandise, mainly at Walt Disney, but I worked in like a ton of different stores, so I worked in World of Disney less than I worked in other places, so I wouldn't even say I was like home-based there, but either way, and now I'm going to be starting my journey in the Canada Pavilion, which is really exciting. I'm going to be working there for a whole year. I'm currently contracted from July 10th, 2023 to July 4th, 2024, but my visa can potentially extend up until sometime in October, which is really exciting. So we'll see how that goes, but as for the whole process, it was last March that Disney announced that the cultural representative program was coming back for some countries, not all the countries yet, but at this point it was just some countries, and Canada included. I applied when applications came out, and I actually had my program coordinator at the time. She had some connections with Disney, so she actually sent in, or sent to someone to send in a letter of recommendation, basically. So from what I understand, I was put in with the group that was like people that had already applied, kind of thing, like the people from the canceled programs in 2020. But I don't think they ended up really getting preference anyway, so I don't think that really mattered. But basically, I put in my application, I wrote out my cover letter, I wrote out my resume. I was really, really proud of that cover letter. I had worked over a year on that cover letter, pretty much the entire time, like during the pandemic. I had it ready to go as soon as these applications reopened. So I was really, really proud of that. I ended up getting an interview, and I did, first off, a presentation. So I had the presentation with the Cultural Representative Program in May, the very beginning of May, and then very soon after that I did my interview, and the interview went amazing. It was the most fun I've ever had on a Disney interview, which was also a Zoom interview, it happened to be. And then I was put on a waiting list, and originally I said my start date could be May of 2024, and then something shifted around. I was on the waiting list for a very long time, and then in this year, so in like November, December of just this past year, I asked to have that moved to later in the year, so like December-ish. I ended up getting an offer for December 4th, which I had accepted because at the time I thought I was also going to be doing the academic exchange program. When the interviews for that came out, unfortunately, I learned that due to some visa restrictions, I was no longer going to be able to do that, but Danielle, the Disney recruiter, was nice enough to give me the option of whether or not I wanted to do the academic exchange or the cultural representative program. Of course, I chose the cultural representative program because it is a little bit longer. It's a whole year versus 5 or 6 months, so of course I was going to do that. And I also asked her at that point if there was any availability to move up my start date, because I didn't now want to wait all the way till December, so they had an availability on July 10th, which is perfect because at this point I had already made plans for my life in May and June, so July was going to be perfect because I was planning for a July start date anyway. It worked out really well, and all my other friends, a ton of my other friends have been accepted for the academic exchange program and cultural representative program, and they're going to be starting around the same time as me in July. They're actually all starting a week later than me, and like literally they're an academic exchange program, cultural representative program from multiple countries, Disney college program, friends, like literally everyone is starting in July, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited to see these people again who I don't get to see that often, or I've only met like a handful of times in my life, and we're just like internet besties. So I'm really, really excited to actually get to spend some time with them over the year or however long that they're going to be there. At the time, I then paid my Disney acceptance fee when I got accepted the first time back in December, so I believe it was like $451, which turned out to be around the $600 Canadian mark, which covers your first week of rent and just like general program fees. So Disney runs a lot of program housing events and such. Transportation is included in the program. All that kind of stuff. I've decided not to bring a car because I don't want to have to worry about the added expense of having it down there. So yes, there's a parking pass, but then you also have to consider like gas, an oil change, any car repairs, stuff like that. And then when you have your car in Florida for over 6 months, you do have to get it registered. So you'd have to get a Florida license, Florida plates, and that's just not something I was interested in doing because it just seemed like a very expensive lot of work that I didn't really need to do. I have taken the bus transportation before, and while it is not my favorite thing in the world, it's definitely something that is manageable, especially because the Epcot bus route, from what I understand, is pretty good. And I know a ton of my friends will have cars, so I'm hoping maybe to hitch the odd ride with them, like coming home from work if we get off at the same time or something. So I know I won't be totally stranded. If we want to do like a Universal day or something, we're gonna do that together anyways, so therefore I can just pay them a little bit for gas money, or we can split parking or whatever needs to be done there. From there, it was pretty much slow sailing for a while. I was just kind of waiting around. I actually have a list here of all the different things that I've done for the program so far. Next step was to upload all my documents. So Disney sent me a link to my documents, and this included stuff like visas, emergency contact information, my passport information, my previous social insurance number, because I already had one. If you don't have one, Disney will arrange all that for you when you get down there, so you don't have to worry about it if you don't have like the US social insurance number yet. Like I said, I had one, so I uploaded all of that information. And then I was also asked to upload my information about my visa appointments at the embassy, but as a Canadian, you don't have to do that. So originally it popped up and then it just disappeared. So don't have to worry about that. And then I had to upload a English statement, and this is a statement for the Q1 visa, so the government makes you upload it so you can get the visa document. And basically this is just a statement that says like, I spoke English as I was growing up. I am a native English speaker pretty much, or if English isn't your first language, you just write how you learned English and how you know English. Mine was literally 2 sentences long. You print it off, you sign it, you upload it, and you send it off, and that is it. I then got an email from Yummy Jobs a couple weeks later, and this is about health insurance and about my police check. My police check is just the most basic record check. I did all of mine online. It was 40 Canadian dollars, and you just I sent it off to my police department, and within like 2 weeks they got back to me and they sent me a PDF copy. In the past, I've had to go to the actual station, so now that they have this as like an online option, it makes life so much easier that they just are able to email it to me. For the health insurance, I haven't actually purchased that yet. So the thing about health insurance with all the other Disney programs is Disney provides you with the one that you have to purchase. So in this case, they provide us with a suggested one, but after the 3-month grace period, like you would with any company, I actually get to be on Disney's benefit plan, like I would as a full-time cast member, because on the cultural representative program, you pretty much are a full-time cast member. So I'm gonna have that option, but I don't know if the plan that Disney suggested to me is really right for me yet, and that's just because of my own needs. I do need a lot of prescription drugs in general, especially if I get sick down there. I will be bringing my medications with me as much as I can, and I don't plan on any routine medications having to purchase down there, like my anxiety meds or anything like that. If I need like something in case I get sick or something, then I will have to, and unfortunately I'm very prone to getting sick, so antibiotics or anything like that, I don't want to have to pay out of pocket, so I just want to make sure I'm on a good plan in that sense. So I just need to do a little bit more research. I might still end up purchasing that one. I just need to do my research on it to make sure that I'm purchasing the one that's going to be best for my money personally. I then got an email on April 10th. So today is, what is today? Today is April 17th. And on April 10th, I got a video about an immigration compliance thing that I had to watch. And basically Disney sent me a link to their immigration system. You watched this 20-minute video about basically saying don't disobey the law, don't drink underage, like don't do illegal things, and then you click yes saying that you have watched it, and that is the whole process with that. But you do have to watch that before you arrive, so make sure you're doing that. I just did mine as soon as I got it. It's a fun little video. It's not like completely boring. They do try to spice it up a little bit. They used to make you go in for an in-person presentation, and they had like cops come in and do it, and it was like super scary. It's nothing like that anymore. Now it's just this 20-minute video before you arrive, which in my opinion is so much better. And then the next day, actually on April 11th, I got my I-797 approval document, which is my visa document. So I got this by email. It doesn't come in the mail like DS 2019s for J1 visas do. This is a Q1 visa, and you'll get it sent to you. And this was a long document from the government of the United States, and it had all of my arrival information on it, and that is what I need to print off and bring to the border. The other thing I thought was really weird on it is it actually had all the information on it, like full names, first, middle, and last name, and birth dates of everyone with the same arrival date on a Q1 visa as me, which is kind of interesting. That still makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable knowing that these people from around the world that I don't even know have like my full name and birthday on their document. It's kind of weird, but I mean, I have theirs too, so I guess these people are generally well screened, obviously, because their police checks went through and they got the job with Disney, so it can't be too, I don't know, it's still very strange to me that their names are on my documents. But from this, I did learn that there are 25 people in total arriving on my arrival date, so me plus 24 other people from all over the world, a ton of people from like the continent of Africa, which is really cool, a couple people from the UK, a bunch from Norway. I am the only Canadian arriving that day though, which is also really interesting. There is also a small academic exchange program group arriving on that day too. So most of the academic exchange program arrive on July 17th, but a few arrive on July 10th. So academic exchange program plus 25 of us cultural representative program people. And that is pretty much all that's going on with that so far. So it's been a crazy time. I move out of here in exactly 10 days. So my school is over in 10 days, which means I leave this building for good in 10 days, which is pretty cool. I honestly have not been a fan of living here, and I'm 90% sure there's mold growing in this building because it's been making me very sick. And the second I'm in this building for more than like 10 minutes, I get a headache. I have a headache right now. It's pretty much a constant thing. So I'm pretty sure there's mold growing in this building, so I'm very happy to be free of that. I'm excited to go home for a couple months. Other than that, I need to make an appointment with my doctor to renew my prescriptions. So I've already talked to her and she's gonna give me a 6-month supply and then a renewal for a 6-month supply also for all the medications I need, which is gonna be wonderful. And that way I can get the 6 months. And then I'm hoping, because I do get 2 weeks paid vacation on my cultural representative program, I believe. It might even be more than that, like it might be like 21 days or something, I don't remember. But I'm gonna use that time to come home and visit my family. So therefore, I'm hoping within that 6 months, I'll be able to come home and refill it for 6 months. If not, when my parents visit, I'm hoping they'll be able to bring it for me or something. We have booked a hotel. So on this past weekend, I went home to visit my family and we booked the Port Orleans French Quarter Resort for before my stay. So this is actually where I stayed last year before my cultural exchange program, but I've only ever stayed 2 nights there. So 1 night in May and then 1 night again in June I stayed there, and it was my favorite resort of maybe all time. Saratoga Springs may beat it, but it is a very close second. I love Port Orleans French Quarter so much. So me and my dad are gonna be staying there for 5 nights and doing a little like pre-vacation kind of thing, which is really fun. I won't have my annual pass anymore, so I am letting that expire because frankly, I would have had the money to renew it this year, like I would have been able to figure that out, but I can't guarantee living off a Disney paycheck that come again a year from now, I'm gonna have that money to renew it again. And the only reason I was going to renew it is because I didn't want to lose it. Obviously, I have park admission during the cultural representative program, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to get that annual pass back afterwards. So I don't know, but a year from now, like things may be very, very different in that kind of scenario. Annual passes, I mean, they are coming back soon, but I think they'll be gone very quickly. But maybe that just means next time they do go on sale, I'm gonna have to be like on top of the computer ready to get one. But at this point, I've decided that I am not going to do that just because at this point, like I just don't have the money to be able to support that. Other things I need to figure out. I need to figure out a phone plan, what exactly I'm doing. I think I'm canceling my Canadian phone plan. I think I'm just like straight up, I'm with Koodo right now and I do not like it. It needs to go. I have a lot of issues with service and not having service, and I don't enjoy Koodo. I think I'm being, well, every Canadian phone company I'm being heavily overcharged for, but instead of getting a new American number this time, I think I'm just going to try to transfer my Canadian number, and that way I don't have to worry about anything and just get rid of my Canadian plan and get a new Canadian plan when I come back, because I think that's just gonna be a better option. Other than that, I mean, I don't even know what else to say. Like, it's been kind of cool here knowing that like I'm graduating with a job. My transfer credit, my last transfer credit got approved actually, which means that I am 100% graduating. My official graduation ceremony is on June 7th. So another cool thing about getting to be here in May and June is I get to go to my actual graduation ceremony. So on June 7th, I will be graduating for the last time, and then we're done with school. We are all done. So, and then I have some time at home to hang out with my cat and my dog and my parents before I head down to Florida in July. I also got offered the biggest sponsorship I have ever done, ever, for my packing video for the program. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet because I don't think there's any reason I can't tell you except for the fact that I don't want to jinx it because I haven't actually gotten the products in yet, and there was initially some issues because I am in Canada, so there were some shipping issues with the products, but I think it's okay now, so I think I have it worked out. So my fingers are crossed that all of it is going to work out because it is a product I was actually planning on purchasing anyway, so it worked out perfectly, and is truly a dream collaboration. Like, it is on my dream collaboration list, so my hopes are so high that everything works out and that I actually get to do it because it is something I will use so much. So I'm really excited for that. Other than that, once I move out of here, I need to go and organize my entire life at my parents' house because I have so much like organizing to do. I have been living in 2 separate places pretty much for 2 years now, so being able to condense all my stuff, get rid of one of things that I have 2 of, even just the fact of like I'm sitting right here right now, like my makeup remover, okay, I have half of one here, I have half of one there because I wasn't gonna just carry one back and forth all the time. So condensing those items, stuff like that, or just like using one up so I only have one or whatever, along with putting stuff aside that I'm gonna take to Florida. I need to go through my clothes, and I was originally thinking about doing like a story sale thing, but I think I'm just gonna end up giving them away just because it's so much easier. So much easier. I can't be bothered anymore. I've decided I'm taking 3 suitcases to Florida with me, which is not something that I've done in the past. I've taken like 2 max, but this time I'm taking 3, which was kind of expensive, but will be worth it because I'll be there so long. I think I'm going to try to bring bedding with me. I'm going to try to bring a couple things that I wouldn't normally bring with me so I don't have to buy them down there, and just also have a little bit more of that comfort of home with me and not have to spend as much money initially when I get down there, because nothing is worse than having something at home and then having to buy a second one when I'm in the States, knowing I have it at home already, but then I have to buy another one. I don't want to have to do that. So I'm really hoping. I've also been talking to Flamingo about accommodations, and at this point, I don't want to jinx anything, like knock on wood, but it looks like everything is going to get approved, which I'm really excited for because I do have some medical accommodations that I need my own bedroom at Flamingo for, just for like breathing reasons. It's kind of important. So I'm like fingers crossed that those get approved, and I'm going to be a pain to Flamingo about it because I really do need those approved. So fingers crossed. At this point, it's looking real good though. Like, I have personally talked to the manager of Flamingo Crossings about it, so I think I'm in contact with the right people at this point for everything to get approved as it is. I also did book my flight, by the way. I paid way too much money for it. I don't even want to talk about that. But me and my dad are flying WestJet when we go down, and then he's going to come back on the 9th, and then I'm going to come, or I'm not coming back, but I'm moving into Disney on the 10th. So there will be one night there that I am there alone in between that, but from the 5th to 9th, he's hanging out with me. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I mean, that's pretty much all that's going on right now. I haven't been doing, I feel like there's not a ton going on at this point that we can really talk too much about, because right now it's still just a big paperwork organization phase, but that is how everything is organized so far. So thank you so much for watching this little update if you stayed the whole way through. These updates honestly are just going to mainly be for me and for my like looking back on in the past. I don't know, they may also help you out if you are going down to do the program yourself, for things to look out for and stages of what to do stuff in and things that'll be happening and all that stuff. Thank you so much for listening or watching, whether you're on YouTube or you're on the podcast. If you're on YouTube, make sure you go check out the podcast. If you're on the podcast, make sure you go check out YouTube. It goes both ways. You can find me at Part of Brooke's World and at Babbling with Brooke. Babbling with Brooke is the podcast. Part of Brooke's World is obviously my social medias, including YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you so much for listening or watching though, and I hope you have a magical rest of your day.